What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I'm bringing you a Blue Eyes variant that a lot of you have been asking for, and that is of course, Blue Eyes with Dragoon. Now this is a very small Dark Magician package, but the idea is you get a lot of nostalgia by being able to utilise Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician in the same deck. There is additional synergy because through your normal Blue Eyes combo you can actually get direct access to, of course, a Dragon and a Polymerization. If you want to make the involvement of Dark Magician more in this deck, the other additional benefit that you will get is Magician's Rod, being a level 4 or lower spellcaster, can go into the Blue Eyes Link 1, and then you're able to kind of search out Secrets of Dark Magic, search out Soul Servant if you want to, and then work your way through the Blue Eyes combo. It does require you to hard open up something like a Magician's Souls, but that still gives you a little bit more to add to the deck if you want to. I've kept it as a very minimal engine to get you into Dragoon because you don't want to be your sole focus on getting Dragoon. It's just like a very nice added bonus, whether you're going second to help you OTK or if you're going first to protect all of your plays from stuff like Nibiru's or even additional hand traps. So before diving into this, massive shout out to the person that kind of suggested it to me, and that's Renegade Gamer. And this was suggested like a couple of weeks ago. They mentioned how they used the Soul package, and I was curious as how they made it bridge. And the bridge, of course, is going to be your Abyss Dragon, because your Abyss Dragon can search out your Polymerization, and there's your Dragon, and then all you need is Magician Souls to get Dark Magician onto the board. I'll show you a combo at the end of the video just so you can kind of see how it all works and what you do need. It is more of a fun build than it is anything else because of the consistency behind it, but it really is just one of them nostalgia ones that if you want to play it for a bit of fun, you can do. I've also tried to keep budget in mind, which is why there's no Crimson Dragon and no Primites. If you want to be adding in more expensive cards, you can do, and I'll talk you through which options they are. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. Diving headfirst into the Blue Eyes monsters, of course, we are going to be playing 2 Blue Eyes White Dragon. This is more than enough in most versions. It's probably more of a option when you want to be playing a third, is if you're playing a card like Dictator of D, or maybe if you're leaning more into the Primites, just to give you more Blue Eyes in rotation. But honestly, 2 on the balance is more than enough. Then we've got the 1 Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, just for that floatability, catches a lot of people off guard. And the fact of the matter is, it's just very easy to get access to with, of course, Sage of Visor Blue. Now, the dragon you're going to go to more times than not in this particular version will be your Abyss Dragon, as this is the card that will search you out your Polymerization, which you will need in order to make your Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. There is another fusion target that you can make as well, and the other target that you can make if you want to is Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight, and this will just allow you to protect your True Light. So it really does come up, well, and your other back row, of course. So it really comes down to your preference on which one you want to go to. I'll be showing you both, so it really is if you want to go defensive or aggressive. Then, of course, if you wanted to, Jet Dragon is probably one of the cards you could sacrifice if you wanted to add Magician's Rod to this deck. I kind of felt that it needed another additional component, so you would need to open up Magician's Rod, Sage of Visor Blue, and Magician's Souls in order to make that combo and play work, and then you were kind of diluting the deck a little bit more. I didn't want to take away with what the Blue Eyes do because I feel the Blue Eyes deck just does it incredibly well. So a very small 5-card engine being able to get you to Dark Magician should be enough for when you kind of want it. It's also one of the ones that if you want to lean into a bit more and you want to try and find more ways to do it, you probably end up turning this into a Dark Magician deck with a bit of Blue Eyes support, whereas this is still Blue Eyes with a very nice nostalgic Dark Magician engine, which we'll see in a second. So for the Blue Eyes spellcasters, we do play triple Sage, triple Maiden, and the 1 Master. I still really like Master's application in the deck, especially because you're not playing Magician's Rod. Your main normal summon will be Sage, which leads you to Maiden, which can lead you to Wishes, which can lead you to Master. And then your Master is your additional normal summon, which then allows you to get more resource back, lets you loop back Effect Veilers, lets you loop back the Sage, and that's where it's important to loop back the Sage, because that's how you're going to get into the Abyss Dragon. Again, you'll see all of this at the end of the video, just so you have an idea of how it all goes step to step, but you're basically going down a very standard 1.5 card combo route with Sage, and then you add Magician Souls to it, and you end up with a Dragoon as well. Speaking of, we do play triple Wishes, so all of this is in the structure deck. 1 Raw, you've got to be careful with this one because this will lock you into Dragons, so you need to make sure you use this after you've already made your Dragoon, because unfortunately, Dragoon is a spellcaster. Though there are some times when I look at cards like Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, and I wonder how far are we away from getting cards that are treated as spellcasters and Dragons. I know we have cards that could be treated as multiple attributes, but maybe we're not so far off of cards being treated as spellcasters and or Dragons. But you never know. Whether that'll be helpful for the game or not, I don't know. Then, of course, we've got the 1 Mausoleum, and then for the track cards, of course, 1 True Light, and I still really like Majesty. So, personal preference, cut this out if you want to. I know a lot of people are going to be like, whoa, why aren't you playing Destined Rivals? The annoying thing with Destined Rivals is I mean, you can very easily search it, you can very easily set it, but more times than not, your true light, your main target is going to be Wishes, your second target is going to be Raw maybe, and then your third target is going to be Majesty. Like, Destined Rivaled as that, okay, it's a very nice negate, is not the most important. But again, because it features Blue Eyes and Dark Magician on the card art, you can very easily go for it if you wanted to. So that's it for the Blue Eye cards. All of those came in the structure deck, so nice and easy. Then for the Dark Magician cards, we are playing the 1 Dark Magician, followed up by 2 Magician's Souls and the 1 Illusion of Chaos. Now, the reason you play this engine at the base minimum is your Illusion of Chaos can lead you into your Magician's Souls. Magician's Souls can be used twice in this deck. The first time you obviously want to send Dark Magician and then summon Dark Magician, and that's how you can lead yourself into Dragoons. But then if you were to hard open up your Magician's Souls, the second copy, you can actually use it to send the Illusion of Chaos from the deck to the grave, and then summon down the Magician's Souls and send spells and traps to draw you more cards. That's where it'll get a little bit more effective if you were to play Magician's Rod and increase the engine. But like I said, you want to keep this as at a base minimum. And this is why it's a 5-card engine, or technically, you could say it's a 7-card engine because you play Abyss Dragon and Polymerization just for this. For the additional card, while you're like, oh, I only count 6 on that one, well, we actually main deck the Secret Village of the Spellcasters, because once you've made your Dragoon, what you can do through your Spirit Dragon is work your way into an Ancient Fairy Dragon. At that point, you would already have Mausoleum of White face up in your spell and trap zone, or your field spell zone. So what you could do is then use Ancient Fairy Dragon's effect to destroy said field spell, and then search you out Secret Village, activate Secret Village. So not only will you end up with the ability of possibly working into a Crystal Wing, but you'll have a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon on the board. Your opponent will not be able to activate spells unless they have a spellcaster in rotation. And you're obviously going to be backing that up with the other Blue Eyes cards in the graveyard, on the board, True Light, you name it. So it's one of these ones that you can very easily side out. It's one of the ones that you can very easily have in your side deck and side in when you guaranteed know you're going first. But I thought at the cost of just 1 card in the main deck, it was probably worth maining it and just seeing where you can go from it. So that's it for the Dark Magician engine. Now moving on to the board breakers / hand traps. So for board breakers, I've gone with 3 Forbidden Droplet. Like, there's some times where you don't mind putting some of your cards into the graveyard. It gets you a bit more advantage as well. It really is up to you. You can also play Book of Eclipse if you wanted to. It's just getting that balance of being able to go first and second, and a card like this or Eclipse can do that job for you. And then, of course, for the hand traps, triple Ash Blossom, double Nibiru. You can triple up Nibiru and triple up Effect Veiler if you want to. 2 Bestials, as they do also act as dragons, and it's another way of being able to get you a dragon to the hand, because if you're able to resolve the Abyss Dragon, again, if you have another dragon in the hand, you can just poly and leave the Abyss Dragon on the board, and that then allows you to get 2 Synchro level 9s or a rank 8. And then the final cards are Triple Infinite Impermanence and the one called by the Grave. Again, apart from the Bestials, these all came in the structure deck. And then with the Bestials, the idea is that if you have Druid Swarm, you'd play it. If you don't, these are your cheaper alternatives. If you don't want to play these, again, 3rd Nibiru and 3rd Effect Veiler, and then you stay within the realms of the structure deck as well. So of course, starting off with the new boss monster in the form of the Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. So we all know how incredibly powerful this card is. It's amazing that you can actually utilize it, and you don't really need to go that far out of your way to make it, because that's going to give you the ability to pretty much set up that Omni Negate that you might need for the cost of discarding 1 card. So you do need to make sure you're keeping an eye on your hand advantage. That's the one biggest negative of playing this engine in this particular build, is for the pure fact that you're already discarding a card for Wishes. If you're not discarding a card for Wishes because you're just going down the 1 card route of your Sage, you have to play it a little bit differently, and you still need to have that discard for Dragoon. So ultimately, to get this combo at its full potential, it's 2 specific cards plus 2 discards, which straight away is a bit off-putting, because then it means you only have 1 more card left in your hand that you can use as either free fodder later on, or as recursion, or just a general hand trap. So it does get a little bit tricky, and you are putting a lot into the board, but once you invest that amount of cards into the board, it's very tricky for your opponent to break. Then of course you do play the 1 Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. So this is your alternative to going into Dragoon if you want to be a bit more defensive, or you don't have cards to discard. Being able to protect your back row can be very, very helpful as well. So they can't be targeted and they can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effect, which means True Light relatively will stay in rotation. The other benefit is that this is a level 8 dragon, so if you do get a position when you're going back to be aggressive, you can actually overlay this with a Blue Eyes to get you into your Indigo. Now, you don't have to play Indigo. You can, of course, play the number 90 and the number 38, but it really is up to you. Then for the Synchro, oh, actually, let's continue with the fusions first. So for the rest of the fusions, 1 Tyrant and 1 the Eyes Ultimate, pretty standard. For the Links, 2 Spirit and 1 Spheres. And then for the Synchros, this is probably where you're going to get the most advantage on it. So you've got your 2 Spirit Dragons, pretty standard on that. And then your targets of the Spirit Dragon will be your Azure Eyes. This is your budget alternative to the Divine Dragon. And then, of course, your Crimson Dragon, which would be your Crystal Wing. I'll explain how you make Crystal Wing in a second, because your other targets of the Spirit will be your Blue Eyes Ultimate, your Michael, just to deal with any of your opponent's specific cards, and then your other one is your Ancient Fairy Dragon. And then the idea is, once you've made either of these, so Michael for being aggressive going second, Ancient Fairy Dragon going first to get you access to your secret village, you then, with one of your level 1 tuners, whether that be Maiden, Master or Sage, synchro off your Ancient Fairy Dragon into a Crystal Wing, and then you're adding Crystal Wing to as a monster negate. You've got a secret village, your opponent can activate the spells, and then you'll also have Dragoon on there as well. Yes, the investment to the board is very, very high, but the fact you're straight away locking out spells, you've got a monster negate protection, and of course, a monster negation, and then of course you have Dragoon, which is an omni negate. You're pretty much shutting down most of your opponent's hand. I'm not saying it's an unbreakable board, but that is still a very difficult board for your opponent to break. And if they can't break it, once it comes back, if they put a monster on the board, your Dragoon's going to finish the game off, because Dragoon would be made with Dark Magician, meaning it gets 1 pop and burn, and then of course Crystal Wing swings in and finish it off from that point on as well. So you're pretty much getting everything you need off the back of it. And it is just, like I said, it's a very nice additional engine as well. Let me just double check this one. So, damage your opponent equal to the number, monster's original attack. I'm trying to remember, you destroy one monster your opponent tries, and if you do, you can use it up to the number of normal monsters. Okay, cool. So you can actually use this twice if you use Blue Eyes. I always use it with Red Eyes, so I've never really realised that it's normal monsters. So technically, if you make this with Blue Eyes White Dragon, you get to pop and burn twice, which will be game. So going second, if you do your combo and make this, which you will get to a point where you can either use Blue Eyes or Abyss Dragon, if you make it with Blue Eyes, this gets go, cool, pop, burn, swing, game. So, which is insane. And you'll still have an Abyss Dragon on the board that could then swing as well. Crazy. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the basic combo so you can see how it works step by step. So you have an idea of how you work your way into the Dragoon, and then we'll go back from there. So I'll be back in a second. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The combo is very, very specific, as it will require Magician Souls and Sage, and then you ideally need 2 cards to discard. You can actually recycle one of these discards, but it means you won't get Secret Village of the spell cards in rotation. So it's entirely up to you, but I'm going to show you the max potential of this particular combo so you have an idea of where it goes. But what you kind of need to keep in mind is that your Blue Eyes Sage combo will do everything it needs to do on its own anyway, and if you do hard open up a Magician's Souls or root to it off of the back of Illusion of Chaos, you'll be able to add a Dragoon to the board as well, which I'm going to show you how to do. So you're going to start off with your Sage, you're going to normal summon down the Sage, and of course you're going to do your standard combo of grabbing the Maiden. Maiden's effect, send it to the graveyard, grab your True Light. Then what you can do here is you can link off your Sage into the Link 1. This will then work you into the Mausoleum. You then activate the Mausoleum, targeting your Spirit, sending Blue Eyes from deck to the grave, then use Spirit's effect, tribute off, bring back Blue Eyes, bring back Maiden. So at this point here, you can synchro these both together and make your Spirit Dragon. It really is up to you. It's probably going to be a little bit more defensive if you do that, because if they Ghost Ogre something like your True Light, you will lose these cards. But that's something you do need to keep in mind and then think ahead of, depending on what else. So as it currently stands, you still have Magician Souls plus 2 discards in your hand. And if you're going to be talking about your starting hand, technically, you're going to have 3. So now you're going to want to activate the True Light. Now again, if you don't want to use an additional discard, you would set anything but the Wishes. Because I want to show you the max potential of this combo, we are going to be setting the Wishes. We're going to activate the Wishes, discarding the first random card. And the 2 cards you're going to want to add is, again, either want to add your Majesty as a defensive option during your opponent's turn, or of course you can add the Roar, and this will be your Aggressor. Again, the benefit of something like this is you're adding a card that can be discarded. So if you're worried about your hand advantage, you hold one of these back in the hand. It really is entirely up to you. And then the best thing about that as well is if you use the graveyard effect of the Majesty, you're actually allowed to banish this card to reach someone a rich monster from your hand by treating Blue Eyes White Dragons from the hand or field whose total levels equal the level. So if you wanted to play the Magician of Black Chaos Max, you could do, which would be really, really funny. But that then needs you to add that into the deck. And to get to that card, you need to be playing more specific cards like maybe a Dogmatica package. But I digress. Anyway, you set either one of these. I'm going to set Majesty just to be a bit more defensive so you have a bit of an idea of what's going on. The monster you're going to want to search without a shadow of the doubt is of course going to be your Master, as that is going to be incredibly important as your additional normal summon. Speaking of which, you normal summon your Master. Master will then allow you to add your Sage back to the hand. Now before you go any further here, what you're probably going to want to do is you're going to want to synchro the Blue Eyes plus your Master together, and this will then get you into your Spirit Dragon. Now the reason you want to do that is so that when you activate your Sage to target your Maiden, you could trigger Maiden's effect to bring back a tuner, being the Master. In doing so, you'll then turn your Sage into an Abyss Dragon. Abyss Dragon will now grab you Polymerization. wherever it may be. So you would then grab your Polymerization, there we go, so you've got that, and keeping in mind the rest of your hand is Magician Souls, Polymerization, and then 2 random discards. So you'll now use Magician Souls effect, sending Dark Magician from deck to the grave, and then reviving the Dark Magician. To then activate the Polymerization, fusing these 2 together, you get a Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. And now that you've got your Spirit Dragon protected, because you've still got these 2 discards in the hand, or of course you can hold the Majesty and fret that later on, then what you do is you use Spirit's effect, you tag this out and go into an Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy Dragon's effect will destroy Mausoleum and grab you your Secret Village of the Spellcasters, which again is how you can recycle it. So if you don't want to put it back on the board, you have that discard in the hand. We'll then activate the Secret Village. You can then synchro these 2 together. This will then get you your Crystal Wing, and now you can set the Majesty. So what we've basically done here, with technically 3 cards as it stands, 4 cards if you want to discard off of the back of the Dragoon, or you hold either of these back in the hand, probably better off holding the Majesty. But as this currently stands, what you've got is you've got a Monster Negator off the back of Crystal Wing, you've got an Omni Negator off the back of Dragoon by discarding a random card, you've then got Secret Village, because you've got Dragoon, which is incredibly difficult to get rid of, it means they can't activate spells, which means they can't activate a Cosmic or a Harpy's Feather Duster to get rid of True Light. And even if they do get rid of True Light, Dragoon can't be destroyed by card effect, so that just stays on the board anyway. So then what you also have, as we're playing through our opponent's turn, is you have the ability to activate True Light. So let's say they kaiju this, right, for example. Let's say they kaiju your Dragoon, which would suck, but it happens. They kaiju the Dragoon. You can still go, okay, activate True Light, bring back Blue Eyes, bring back Trigger to bring back Maiden. So now what's happened is you still put them back under the Secret Village lock, because this is a spellcaster, and then they are forced to attack this. And when they attack this, you can then trigger the effect to bring out another spellcaster, in the form of something like Master, or in the form of Sage. So then they're still under the Secret Village lock, which means they have to attack it again in order to do so, and you're just making it more and more complicated for them to try and out the Secret Village lock, which is really annoying. But the idea is at the base minimum, you will then be able to activate True Light at any point, either set a Wishes for follow-up at the next turn, set a Roar for follow-up at the next turn, or just bring back a Blue Eyes, brings back Maiden. As this then comes back to your turn, you'll obviously draw for your normal turn. Then you have the ability to synchro these 2 together and go into a Spirit Dragon. So this will be your second Spirit Dragon. As we are back in our turn, we get to activate True Light again. So you'll activate True Light. This can then bring back your Blue Eyes, which in turn will bring back Maiden, which is just absolutely disgusting. You can make another Synchro 9 if you wanted to, or just with the overall aggression you have on this board, you've got a 25 there, you've got 3k there, you've got a pop and burn and then an attack there, and then of course you've got a Blue Eyes attack there, and that's all before you even activated Majesty, which you maybe did in the end phase just to deal with maybe a card that your opponent had in the back row. So you've got so much resource on the board, you get to loop it all back. It's really the hand advantage that you need to focus on and you need to control in order to get the maximum amount out of this. Anyway, I hope this has been informative for you. I hope it's given you a couple of ideas on your own version of this deck. It is really a fun deck. It's quite a nice nostalgic feel to be able to use Dark Magician and Blue Eyes in a deck that actually feels like it can do something. But I do feel that the hand advantage is something that can be very, very taxing, and it really is up to you. But the end board is very powerful, and I feel that if most people don't know what this deck is doing or what it's trying to achieve, that will catch a lot of people off guard as well. Anyway, any questions at all, as always, put them in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. But for now, stay safe, and of course, happy wherever Dragoon is. Dragooning?